Hi guys, welcome to Brand X Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about the upcoming DC Cinematic Universe movies. Now, this weekend is the San Diego Comic Con, and this poster came out. There's a variety of the same poster pretty much, so I'm going to show you. There's like 3 different versions, but you'll notice there's no Superman in this poster, which I think they were trying to keep Superman out of some of the promotional stuff because I don't know if you remember, but they killed him off in Batman v Superman. And we know, obviously, he's not going to be dead. He's coming back. It's Superman. That was even kind of hinted at the end of the film. I didn't really like the way they played that out, but, be that as it may, they've kept him out of the promotional material, and he is absent from these posters, which makes sense. But you can see, if you look at the word save, where it says you can't save the world alone, you have the Superman logo, so he's not completely absent. Now, one thing that has been brought to light, but quite recently, the Hollywood Reporter have reported that Ben Affleck is wanting out of the Batman role after the Justice League movie. So that would mean that in the standalone Batman, that up till quite recently, Ben Affleck was actually even going to direct that movie. That he won't even be involved in that in terms of acting. He's going to be out, basically, if this is true. Now, specifically what's been said is that he's wanting out, that Warner Brothers are wanting him out, and they're trying to figure a best way forward, because there's a number of implications here. I mean, you could recast him. Do you really want to do that? Because historically speaking, that hasn't always been brilliant for the Batman character whenever they've recast. Obviously, look at the Batman quadrilogy that started out with Michael Keaton. Val Kilmer came on board. To be honest, I thought he did a pretty good job. And then George Clooney came on, and that film itself was not very good. And George Clooney, although he can be quite good in things, that wasn't really the best role for him. So we don't really want them to do that here with Ben Affleck, but there's a number of other things they could do. I mean, they could potentially do some kind of prequel movies. I think that's a terrible idea, but, just because I think it's a terrible idea doesn't mean that they're not going to do it. Where you'd have a younger actor, effectively, maybe 20 years younger. You could get somebody playing the Bruce Wayne character there. There's a number of ways forward. They could do like a split dimension or something like that. It does seem like they're doing some fairly metaphysical things with the DC Cinematic Universe. That WTF scene where Flash appears in Batman v Superman, and what the hell's going on there? I'm pretty sure that's going to be explained away anyway in Justice League, which is out in November. But anyway, there's a number of implications there, but it's not looking good, to be honest. And this franchise is in a hell of a mess. So we will see. But with the Justice League movie coming out, if Ben Affleck is out and they announce that, that's going to put people off wanting to go see the movie. That's going to put me off wanting to go see the movie. I mean, don't get me wrong, it won't stop me, but there's a little bit of apprehension when it comes to getting invested in that film and the character of Batman if you know that he's not going to be played by the same actor, and the character might even continue in any way. This could be like the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, where they have all these plans, they put so much effort into it, and they absolutely seem to be confident going forward that there's a plan and that there's going to be a number of movies, and it just dies a death. It just goes nowhere. Fingers crossed they managed to turn things around here. Wonder Woman was okay, so I mean that's a beginning of a turning around phase. We will see, but obviously I've kind of focused on the Ben Affleck thing, but there's also the Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder situation, where Zack Snyder, pretty tragic to be honest, and I can't really criticise anybody in this equation, because the circumstances were pretty tragic. Zack Snyder's daughter passed away. I think she was like age 20 or something, and it was a suicide from what I understand, earlier on this year. And he just couldn't continue working on the Justice League movie. It was too much for him. So understandably, in a very dignified way, he's kind of stepped away from the project. Joss Whedon stepped in for him. obviously Joss Whedon directed the Avengers movies, so I think it was really good camaraderie, really, him doing that and taking over the Justice League movie. Now, from what I understand, he was kind of finishing off a few little things when they were, I think it was the last few weeks of filming, and then the entirety of the reshoots, which are always planned. So what I've read recently, however, is that the reshoots have actually been a bit more, well, there's been more to them than was originally planned. Because that's one thing that always happens. Whenever there are reshoots, people always do videos on YouTube and blogs and all that kind of thing, and clickbait about reshoots that shows that this, whatever movie they're talking about, is in a really bad situation, having to go back and refilm things. Reshoots happen all the time. They're usually planned from the beginning to do reshoots, and so that's not a big deal. But here, apparently, the reshoots are a bit more significant than was originally intended, which could make sense, to be honest, because originally they were intending that Zack Snyder would be there from start to finish, which isn't the case. So that could have had a knock-on effect in terms of just the scope of things. But then again, it could mean that Joss Whedon is ripping parts out of the Justice League movie that weren't really supposed to be happening when he took over. But we will see. There's been a bit of debate about this recently, and speculation, because from what I understand, Zack Snyder went onto his Twitter page and removed some Justice League artwork from there, and some people kind of speculated that maybe he was kind of wiping his hands of it, or maybe, you know, like when you split up with a girl or something and you delete all your photos of them off Facebook or whatever. Been there myself a few times. There's a kind of bitterness to it as well, and it's like, oh, fuck that person, they're out of my life, I want to delete all memory of it. That's kind of the speculation. I mean, I don't buy into it, to be honest, but that's what people have been speculating when Zack Snyder removed some Justice League artwork from his Twitter page. So I'm pretty sure that's not actually the case. I think he was just updating it because you do update things, you know. So a few things there anyway. I've kind of covered a few things, so hopefully we will see going forward what the damage is with some of this, but it's not looking great. Right, we'll leave it there, and say if you want to follow us, you can do so on YouTube, obviously, Facebook as well, and also on Instagram. So check out Brand X Reviews, and thank you very much for watching.